Am I the asshole for making my sister cancel her trip? My 27F younger sister, 22, will be graduating soon, and my family has gifted her a trip to Japan later in the year. She was thrilled when we told her and happily helped with planning and budgeting for her 2-week stay. It took a lot of bargaining on her end, but we agreed to let her travel alone on the condition that she checks in with me regularly. I live in Tokyo for work. She reluctantly agreed. In secret, I told her that she doesn't need to tell her every move because she's an adult and doesn't need a babysitter. I really just needed to know that she was alive and not in jail or something. She was much happier with the arrangement after that. Eventually, the subject of lodgings came up, and our dad, 54, wasn't all that happy with her choices. They were either too expensive, too shady, or too far. IDK why this was an argument, to be honest. She's traveling. He asked if she could stay with me for the trip. Whatever she saved on lodgings, she could use as additional spending money, he said. She wouldn't have to worry about food or strict check-in, out times either. I agreed that it was an option, but told him that I'd talk it over with my sister first. While I knew that she'd love to have more money to spend on merch or clothes, she probably also wanted a trip without any of her family breathing down her neck. When talked to my sister though, she was furious. I tried explaining myself, but she wasn't happy, understatement, that I was messing with her plans. She'd already booked her hotels, B&Bs, and now she had to jump through hoops to cancel and refund everything. My apartment was too cramped and too far from where she wanted to go. She'd be wasting her supposed savings on traveling. My apartment is a little tight for 2 people, yes, but we could probably manage. Still, I saw her point. So I said that she didn't want to stay with me. I would be glad to help her find arrangements when she arrived and keep it a secret. But then she blew up, said she had enough and yelled that there was no point in her going if people kept messing with what she wanted to do. My parents called the next day to say that her trip was cancelled. She didn't want to go anymore and no amount of convincing or itinerary changes would change that. I feel awful because she'd been looking forward to coming here for years. I wished that I'd helped her push to stay where she wanted instead of making it seem like I agreed with my dad. Her lodgings probably weren't the only things they argued with her about, but me interfering was probably the last straw. I've tried calling her, but she won't pick up my calls. Our brother says to leave it. Her mom has been cycling being mad at her, my dad, or me, and my dad says she'll get over it eventually and was being a brat. I'm fully aware that there was some bratty behavior from her here, but I know I'd be angry too if people ruined a trip I was looking forward to. Edit one more info. I moved to Japan last year. I didn't go through the same conditions when I moved, but that was because I was already making my own money. My family is weirdly anal about people only having some form of freedom when they can afford to pay for things themselves. Another thing that I didn't mention because I forgot that most people in this hellsite are from a first world country, but for someone from our country to travel to a foreign country, we have to jump through hoops and show embassies that we're financially capable for staying. We have to present full itineraries, bank statements, fund sources, etc. And when you're a student, you're unlikely to be approved for a visa without your family backing you. So all of us had to go through these dumb regulations by our dad when we got our graduation trips. It's frustrating and unfair, but it's the best we could work with. Edit 2 I would really appreciate if you all kept the discussion in this thread instead of sending me DMs. I can see your resounding verdict in the comments already. You are the asshole. You, and your parents. Your sister is an adult and can make her own decisions on where she wants to go and stay. I went backpacking solo in America when I was younger than your sister. Let her live her life and make her own decisions without interfering, or as you are finding out she will cut contact with you. You and your family are a big bag of assholes. You are the asshole. All of you. A gift with strings isn't a gift, it's an obligation. You all ruined it for her. Not the asshole. You literally called and asked her what she wants to do. You didn't change the plans. You didn't agree to your dad's plan. Your dad is the asshole here. Not the asshole. I don't understand all the WIBTA verdicts. All you did was talk to her, as you were asked to. She as an adult was more than capable of saying no, and leaving it like that. That she didn't, and went off canceling everything and ended up canceling the trip altogether is probably why the rest of the family didn't want her traveling alone. Controversial, but I don't see how you're an asshole here. You presented staying with you as an option, not something you were forcing onto her. Sounds like she was just frustrated with your parents meddling with her plans and took your offer as further meddling. Which I personally don't see it being as such. Sounds like your parents are the assholes here. Not the asshole. Would I be the asshole if I asked my roommate to stop sleeping on the couch so often? I live in an apartment with 3 other girls, Emily, Sarah, and Jade. Our place is small, it's just the bedrooms, bathrooms, and the living room, kitchen. We split the cost of all our shared furniture when we moved in, including 2 very comfortable couches. Emily and Sarah sleep on the couches fairly often. Since we're 2 to a room, when I come home late at night, if my roommate Jade is asleep, the only place I have to be in is the living room, since she's sensitive to light, sound. I sometimes want to do homework, eat something, or just hang around before my bedtime. I'm a huge night owl. But when someone is sleeping on the couch, all of these things are a bit harder to do since I have to be quieter not to wake them. I feel self-conscious eating, feel bad leaving the light on, etc., because I see that someone a few feet away is trying to sleep. Emily especially sleeps on the couches quite a lot, maybe 3-4 nights a week on average. Jade has also expressed to me that she doesn't like how often it takes place and that someone's sleeping in the living room while she's making breakfast, studying, etc. Tonight, Jade's boyfriend is staying over, so to give them some privacy in our room, I was going to sleep on the couch for the first time in months. Emily and Sarah were both going to sleep on the couch, so I had to ask one of them not to this night alone. Sarah politely agreed. I just feel like this is getting a little ridiculous. It shouldn't be this regular for people to sleep on the couches in a shared space, and I feel like 3/4 of us should never be vying for a spot on a couch at night when everyone has a bed. Emily has said she likes sleeping on the couch because it is comfier than her bed, which is why she does it so regularly. However, it's really annoying to me that I don't have a proper space to be when Jade is asleep in our bedroom and Emily is sleeping on the living room couch. I feel like I may be stepping out of line asking her not to sleep there because it is everyone's couch and she has every right to nap wherever in her own home. I also feel bad because it is more comfortable for her. Would I be the asshole if I asked her to please stop sleeping on the couch so often? Edit. I have no issue with Jade and I am not tiptoeing around her. She let us know in advance that her boyfriend would be visiting and we all approved of it. I offered to sleep on the couch for the night to give her privacy. She did not expect it or kick me out of the room, etc. I have no issue doing this for a night since it's a one-time kind of thing. This is only the second time he stayed over ever and she let us know in advance. That's not what this post is about. Edit 2. I feel no more need to get comments on this post as most people are saying essentially the same thing, to keep using the communal space as if no one is sleeping and hope that deters them. I won't be taking a passive-aggressive route of banging, being excessively loud, etc. I'd rather just talk. Reddit has a way of making something a bigger deal than it actually is. This is an annoyance, but it isn't a huge deal or even that much an issue at the end of the day. I think it's weird enough that there's 4 of you in a handful of rooms and someone is still bringing someone to stay the night. When it's that crowded, go to their place. Booty call in a shared bedroom is weird. Not the asshole, it's a shared space. You're more than entitled to use that space for its intended purpose. If they want to complain about how loud you're being in the kitchen, living room, or the lights being turned on, then feel free to remind them that they have a perfectly good bedroom to sleep in and all their problems would be solved by not sleeping on the couch. YWNBTA. Just because you all split the cost of the couches, doesn't mean they get to hog them practically every night. Suggest to Emily that perhaps she needs a new mattress or mattress topper for comfort. In the meantime, just go about your late night or early morning business as though they weren't there. If they complain, say, "I'm sorry for waking you, but this wouldn't happen if you actually slept in your own bed for a change." If they push back about discomfort, say, "Not my problem. I sleep where I'm supposed to." I do agree with others who say it's time for a roomie chat and laying down of some ground rules. Not the asshole. It's the common area and no one should have to limit their use of the space, sofa, and be extra quiet because someone has made it their second bedroom. Not the asshole. This is coming from someone who slept on the couch last night for the same reason. I read this while laying on it still lol. I don't expect anyone to accommodate me when I'm in a shared living space. Am I the asshole for calling my friend's proposal disrespectful? Alright, so here's the deal. My friend, M27, decided to propose to his girlfriend of 3 years, Dina. F26. The two met at a bar pre-COVID, and were just chatting at first, but it quickly led to more and eventually the two of them moved in together and discussed marriage. Personally, I think they're a great match, and my friend, Steven, has never been happier. He told me that he was planning to propose to Dina, and I was ecstatic. Well, the day of the proposal hits, and I called Steven the next day, which was last night, to congratulate him. But he wasn't happy. He told me that Dina had said no. I was shocked, and asked if he knew why. He said that she didn't like how he proposed. Now here's the thing. I knew he was going to pop the question, but I didn't know how he was going to do it. He thought it would be romantic to propose at the place they met. Yes. A bar. Already I could kind of see why she might not like that. But I decided to ask her privately because she and I have gotten to be close. She confided in me that it's because she told Steven multiple times that she didn't want to have a public proposal, and that she was horrified he would do it at a bar of all places and that she felt disrespected that he didn't accommodate that. I told Steven that his proposal was honestly really disrespectful and seriously kind of messed up, to which he told me I was being an insensitive asshole and should be supportive as his friend rather than talking down on him, but I don't know if I'm wrong here. Am I the asshole for calling my friend's proposal disrespectful? Edit to clarify. I am actually female, for those saying, him, update. Update for those who asked. This whole situation played out far differently than I expected. I didn't know that Steven had a Reddit, and he saw everything. All of this. He confronted me about it, and while he was pissed that I aired their dirty laundry, he did end up thanking me for posting it because it gave him a different perspective, so thank you commenters. As for their relationship, Dina and Steven are still living together, sort of. Dina was upset over the whole event and has spent the past couple days mostly at her parents' house and then working it out with Steven at night. Dina said she is working on forgiving him, but mostly has been bothered that her wishes weren't met. At this time, they are not engaged and Dina has no plans for that anytime soon. I did tell Steven that if they stay together, I would help him plan a proposal in the future. The three of us live in Florida, and we're all relatively close to a beach. So I suggested to Steven that next time he proposed, he do it in the evening at a beach or somewhere private without a lot of people or noise. Steven also told Dina he is planning on returning the ring he bought, and will be giving her some of the money to use for whatever she wants. I think he ordered flowers to be sent to her work, too, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess it all worked out in the end. Not the asshole. He's the one who's not listening to what his partner is saying. Not the asshole. When to respect his partner's wishes he learns, then ready to propose he will be. Not the asshole he did the exact opposite of what his girlfriend wanted for a proposal. He disrespected her by not listening to her wishes and not abiding by them. Not the asshole. Dina. Please don't do a public proposal. Steven. I did a public proposal. Marry me? Dina. No. Steven. How awful. Not the asshole. She explicitly told him she didn't want a public proposal. Not a problem that you pointed it out. That said, probably have been best to just keep your mouth shut. Am I the asshole for not contributing to expenses because my husband makes more money? This was apparently fine for a while but recently came to a head. I, 32F, and my husband, 43M, have been married for 5 years. When we met, we worked at the same place and made similar income, but have only had the same apartment, bills since marrying. Shortly after we did that, I developed an illness that prevents me from working any traditional job. This was rough, but we were living below our means and have continued to live very comfortably on his income alone. I of course didn't want to ask him for spending money and started selling paintings and doing art commissions online. But the profit from that is still comparably low and a lot of it goes back into buying art supplies, so he pays the rent, utilities, and some of the communal groceries while I pay for my own expenses like phone, clothes and food that only I like. Basically he won't let me go without essentials, but I wouldn't expect him to help me buy anything he doesn't also need. A few months ago he had to switch to a lower paying job and things got a little tighter, so he suggested maybe I could contribute a little. I explained I already barely make enough to cover my own needs and that it's absurd to ask someone making less than $1,000 a month if they can spare money when he makes $100,000 plus. I said if I was putting anything into our bills I wouldn't have anything left over for my own toiletries or the food I get for myself, that he buys several new video games and nice clothes every month and I should be able to buy unnecessary things for myself and gifts for people. He then suddenly called me a freeloader, which was incredibly hurtful as I'm not choosing to not work and can't control how inconsistent my income is, and I do so much of the housework. He hasn't had to do laundry or wash a dish or groom the dogs in years because I gladly took over all that once we weren't working equal jobs. I feel like we both contribute equally to keeping the place running, but he doesn't see what I do as important because it's not monetary. I don't blow my money, I can't. I just want to live at a somewhat similar quality of life as him, even though that means buying on sale and secondhand while he can buy anything he wants at any time. Is my perspective incredibly wrong? This is only the second real relationship I've been in, and the first was with a fellow broke student while we both depended on our parents, so I'm not used to figuring out finances with a partner and am willing to listen to more experienced folks. Edit to add. Some comments stated I can work if I'm not impaired enough to be on disability. I would be on disability if I weren't legally married, but they count total household income as a qualifier, and due to his, I don't need assistance. My ability to function is not reliable, and there are days I don't paint or do housework, and employers don't like when you can't do things on their schedule. I tried to get several jobs before turning to making things and would love to be able to earn anything close to what I used to. You are the asshole. You can work. You are choosing not to. If you can paint, do chores and everything else, then you can have a job. If you were single, you would be working. Find a job that you can physically do. Sure, you might not be re-roofing houses, but you are here on the internet. You can spend hours painting. You are capable of housework. You are capable of doing more than you are. If you were single, what would you do? It doesn't sound like you're on disability, so he's paying your way through life. You are the asshole. Info. How are you guys living frugally if he makes $100,000 plus? I am a little bit confused at the way you described the situation. If you do all the chores and he does none and does not offer to do them equally if you work, contribute financially, that means you are a SAHW, and that means your work, contribute already, and that usually means on Reddit that his money is also yours and nobody will call you an asshole. You are the asshole.